Hi guys, if you're new to this channel, you have to know that I rated 2200 and my style is pretty aggressive. And this game, despite the fact it wasn't perfect, shows you a really great attack. So let's see what happened. First of all, I'm playing as white. Kinda makes sense. If you want to play really tactical stuff, you have to play with white. And by the way, let's go on this side, and as you can see there were a lot of mistakes played by both of us, but this game is going to be mad. So we are playing a Tarrash, and now I decided to play this line, which is the main line of the Tarrash, and my opponent played a6. Usually they play c5, so I wasn't used with this move a6. I think I played against this move once and I played a4, so I was like, okay, I'm going to play a4 anyway. The point is that I want to prevent the move b5, although I should have played just knight on e2 and keep going with my development, because if my opponent, let's say I play knight e2 and my opponent keep doing this stuff, I can just castle short, play f4, f5, I'm going to destroy you. So as black, you don't really have the time to do all of this stuff. In fact, yes, exactly, f4 is coming, so a4 is not really needed. But yeah, I played a4 and now he replied with c5, which makes sense. It is really common to play c5 in the French. And now c3 to defend everything. Knight c6 in order to put more pressure on the d4 pawn. I need to do something about that, because otherwise this pawn will be hanging, so the move knight e2 comes really natural. Now you might wonder why not to play knight on f3. Well, in the Tarrash you usually play knight on e2 in order to play knight on d2 to f3, otherwise this knight wouldn't have a great square to go. Queen on b6, keep putting pressure, and now as you can see the knight goes indeed on f3. And with the pieces, now you could play king on f1, I believe. It's not the end of the world. It is also pretty aggressive, but I don't like the idea of having a king on f1. I will prefer castling instead. So I just decided to play bishop on d2, blocks everything, and if you want to trade, okay, let's trade. It's not a problem. And now knight on b4. I have a couple of moves I could play. Probably castle makes a lot of sense. Or I could even rotate the bishop on b1. I saw this move, but I discarded it because I thought it wasn't a really good one. My bishop is on b1 for some reason, and I can't even play queen c2 or queen d3. But instead of castling or playing bishop b1, I decided to play knight on c3. Knight on c3, which, to be fair, I don't really understand myself. What was the point of playing knight on c3? Now my opponent takes, which makes sense, I saw this, and queen takes, and you could take the pawn. The problem of taking the pawn is that you give me a lot of activity, you still have to castle, so it's not so easy to do that. My opponent decided to take, which makes sense, but now it's time for me to have a lot of activity, so I decided to castle. And again, yeah, for some reason there is this knight on c3. I really don't know what was the point. Sometimes, you know, I just play without any logic. So rook on b1 is apparently inaccurate because, yeah, knight on c3 was dumb and Stockfish wants the knight back, indeed. But yeah, rook on b1, there is no problem with this move. Again, playing b5 is not really possible, and you still have to castle. So it's time to attack. What should we do? As you can see, we completed the development. Our opponent has a really passive position. Don't look at the Stockfish evaluation. Is almost -1 if you play like Stockfish. And as you can see from this position, I would say I'm like +2. To be honest, because no one is going to play like Stockfish. Even against a really strong player, is going to have a lot of problem defending this position. This position is terrible for black. So h4. Why h4? If you want to attack on the king side, h4 is a great move, because if you castle, h5 is coming, so it kind of prevents that. And in fact, Stockfish wants us to play knight on b6. Just saying, you don't have an attack. You don't make any sense. Design. But yeah. He decided to play h6, which as you can see is very inaccurate. It's pretty hard to defend a position like this. The point is that you want to prevent h6 yourself in the future. And now what can I do is rerouting my pieces in order to launch a strong attack. First of all, I played rook on e1 in order to just defend these in case there are tactics or in case he wants to play f6. But after that, I really need to reroute my pieces. So he decided to castle. Now, castling is not a good move. It's not a good move because you could play 92, as I said. You need to develop pieces. Although, I am crazy. And castling is not a good move. Also because you could play g4. Now, g4 is -1. Maybe -1. If you let Stockfish realize, maybe not. After g4, you don't really understand how difficult it is to defend this position. Like, I could move the king, play for example rook g1, the knight is coming. You don't have pieces defending. I mean, you maybe have a way to bring the knight into the game. Okay, f6 in fact is a move. But there is, yeah, queen g6, h5 is really difficult again to play. My opponent, instead of playing f6, which is not really natural, he decided to play knight on b6. But as you can see, this knight now is absolutely out of the game. Alright, you are targeting this pawn, but the attack is going on the king side, so I don't really care. I can give you this pawn, and I keep attacking on the king side. So I decided to play g5. g5 is another miss. What was the move? g5. The move was g5. Or king g2. But I play g5 and this is a miss. Again, Stockfish doing Stockfish things. g5 has to be a really good move. What is the point? I want to open everything and absolutely demolish you. Kinda makes sense. My opponent decided to push. He says it's a great move. I kinda understand it, but now my plan relies on this pawn. Since you pushed the pawn, this pawn became weak. So I want to target it. What is the best way to target this pawn, since I can't really get to it with the queen? With this knight, I find it really difficult. I can do that with the knight on c3, for example. So I played knight on e2, and now I want to play knight on g3 or knight on f3 eventually, targeting this pawn. So yeah, this was a really good move. Now, I gave him the pawn, as I said. The action is on this rectangle, okay, on the king side. I really don't care if you win the pawn, if you win this rook on the queen side. I don't care, because the most important thing is chess, is winning the game. And how do you win? By checkmate, resignation or something like that, but let's say checkmate. So you won a pawn, is plus 2.5, something like that. But yeah, knight on f4. What is the point? Good luck defending everything, because if you play g6, looks like everything is defended. Guess what? The difference between knight on g3 and knight on f4 is that I can play this move. I take on g6, which is brilliant. Why is it brilliant? Because after you take, and I take with the queen, you are not going to get mated. That's true. I'm down a piece, you are not going to get mated. But I can take the pawn on h5 first. The king has to move. I can play queen on g6, for example, which I didn't play. And after you move, I have, well, let's say knight on h2, you want to repair the knight and display your opponent. As you can see, I'm down a piece, but visually speaking, this queen is super strong. This king is on the verge of getting mated. I can repair the knight and destroy you. I have to pass pawn close to the king. This is absolutely lost. Now, I didn't see a follow-up with this move, so I decided to play another idea, which is still pretty good. And my idea was to play g6. What is the point? Now, first of all, I don't have to move the knight, because it's defended. And the idea of playing g6 is that I freed the g5 square. So I want to play knight on g5. After I manage to play knight on g5, good luck. Also, the other advantage of having the pawn on g6 is that you cannot play rook on f7, so you cannot really defend properly. You might defend everything with the queen, but it's not easy at all. Also keep in mind that I could move the queen and keep pushing the pawn. So, it is a really difficult position to play. My opponent brings the queen into the game, trying to defend, but now knight g5 comes. Knight g5 comes, and I want to play this, I really want to play this. I still can't, but I'm really close to do that. Another idea is also that I could play knight on f7. What is the point of knight on f7 is that I'm blocking the queen, so I can mate you. You need to be pretty careful. Now, knight on c3. Knight on c3 kind of makes sense, even though it is +8. And the point is that you want to bring the knight into the game. You understand that it's probably the only defender you have. You cannot really defend with this bishop, it takes too much time. So you want to bring the knight into the game. The problem is that after they play rook on b3, attacking the knight, you play knight on e4. As I said, this is the only defender you have that might save you, because you cannot defend with other pieces. What if you don't have it anymore? The logic behind this move is that this was the only thing that was holding your position. Now you don't have it. I don't care if I down a piece, I don't care if I'm down in exchange, I'm going to destroy you because you don't have pieces to defend. You take, now there is knight takes on e4, but also knight on f7 is pretty strong again, with the idea that I'm going to mate you. You need to do something about that. You have to sacrifice the rook, that's for sure. And what is the point? Why I decided to sacrifice my rook? Why is it +12? What is the difference? Like, after I take and queen take, as you can see, I still down a piece, but why am I +15? Well, the point is that the rook is not more than b1, is on b3, and after I take with this pawn, I free all the g file. So my point is that I give you a check, and now you have just one move, king on f8, otherwise you could block with the queen, but king on f8, queen on h8, the king moves, and now rook on g7. And I saw all of these since the rook sacrifice. That's why the rook sacrifice was this good and was indeed winning the game. Now you have to give me the queen. So I just took, king take, and now we need to convert this game. How do you do that? We are up a ton of material. Our opponent can't really do a lot. We are going to make another queen eventually. Now, I decided to not move this queen because it's already really well placed. This queen is kind of perfect right now. The point is that you cannot really play bishop on b7 in order to attack my queen, because I have queen on h7, winning the bishop. So you can't really move your pieces. For this reason, I just decided to push the pawn, and now my opponent is pushing the pawn, trying to do something. It's kind of a desperate try, but I need to be careful, that's for sure. And I just decided to keep pushing because I'm going to win, of course. Now, it's mate in 3 because there is queen g7 and GG. I somehow missed that and I decided to push. But I was sure all of this was winning because I'm going to make 2 queens. You have a king in the center of the board, so there is no way you're not going to get mated. I give a check, you move, I make another queen. You move. Now there are a ton of checks. I was trying to calculate everything, but as you can see, I have 2 minutes. I don't want to risk it. I just want to play safe moves. I mean, I spent 40 seconds, which is a lot. But it was in order to find a really good move that allowed me to have all the check I wanted. So I play this. Now I give another check with the queen. Queen on d6. As you can see, is mate in 3. I probably missed a ton of mates, but it kind of makes sense. And now queen on c4, you move, queen on d8. So I restricted all of the key movement and I managed to mate my opponent. This pawn really didn't have any chance to become a queen. But yeah, this game was just great. It was really tactical and shows you that stockfish evaluation is kind of subjective. I mean, okay, I was worse for the lot, but was worse if my opponent played all the computed moves. It was a really difficult position to play, so more often than not it's better to play something which is not considered super good, but it is really aggressive. In my opinion, that works every time, even against strong players. So that's it for today, guys, and see you with the next video.